demands, especially during this season. And so our spiritual foundation today that I wanted to lead with and I had on my heart was Psalm 16:6. And if somebody wants to put that in the chat, Psalm 16:6, the boundary lines have fallen for me in pleasant places. Surely I have a delightful inheritance. The boundary lines have fallen for me in pleasant places. Surely I have a delightful inheritance. So I want you guys to remember this throughout the session today, because it's going to embody the essence of what we're going to talk about today. So boundaries are a gift from our soul, which we just talked about. So let me pull that up. And I want you guys to not visualize just like a fence, but I want you to visualize a tree and how it's rooted yet gracefully swaying in the wind, and deals with all the storms of life, but it's such as a solid foundation within itself that is unmovable. And I want you guys to know that when we go into the holidays this season, what you have within your home, particularly, not just within your soul, is very, very beautiful. And in a garden, we have to protect it from the animals that want to feast on it, right? So the animals are beautiful and we love the animals and we should care for the animals, and the animals have to eat. And our garden is beautiful and we should care for our garden. And our garden is meant to be eaten, but it's not meant to be eaten by every single animal out in the jungle, because it will die. Our garden will die. And the beauty of seeing the garden and the peace that it brings will be gone. And so we do need to protect and be intentional this holiday season. And so what I want you guys to think about now is I want you to think about, oh, here we go. I want you guys to think about what are current challenges when you think of the holiday seasons with boundaries? What is something, if you want to write it down, something that in your past that you have struggled with when it comes to the holidays? What is something, and the best way to define that is, what is something that you dread? Like, do we dread for our sister-in-law to come? Or, oh my gosh, like, whose house are we going to go to first? Or, I can't eat here. We're going to have to go here. I have to go to 5 different houses. Like, I want you guys to kind of think about that. And then go on this verse when you're writing that down. Do not move an ancient boundary stone set up by your ancestors. I love that boundaries are in the Bible. I don't know if you guys knew that, but now you do. You do know that. So both physical and emotional in regard of boundaries are the fences for our garden. They define what's yours and what isn't, and what you're responsible for and what you're not. Okay? What animals are supposed to eat off your garden and which ones are not. And just as God grants us an inheritance, our well-being, and a season of giving, okay, boundaries help preserve our spiritual inheritance. They're essential to our well-being, especially in the season of giving, right? This is a season of giving and gifting. And so setting boundaries is a profound act of self-love and a preservation. If you guys want to write that down, preservation. Okay. So here's what I love about boundaries. And we've talked about this before if we haven't. At the core of boundaries, it's self-compassion. Okay. You're being compassionate to yourself, as you should. We cannot love our brother if we do not love ourselves. We will never know what that's like. So we need to first create those fences for ourselves before we try to create fences for other people. Okay? We're not trying to create boundaries for our in-laws, not even for our kids. We're trying to create boundaries for ourselves. What are those for ourselves before we can define them for everyone else that we invite in? Because maybe you're going to find out in doing that, it's not for everyone. And we'll get into that hard part in a minute. So not only do they help you protect your well-being, but in protecting your well-being and giving yourself compassion, you're actually going to be able to nurture those relationships and be more present in them than ever before. Because you're not going to be in here anymore, because you have laid a foundation, you have created a boundary for yourself and where you're going to go, what you're going to do, what you're going to talk about, to be able to be in the present time with those people during the holidays that help you preserve and nurture that relationship. And so before I go into that, I want you to understand your experiences. Okay. Take a moment to consider a situation specifically for you where you struggle to set a boundary. I mean, and be honest with yourself. It could be saying no to an event. Okay. It could be asking for help. Maybe you needed help cooking dinner. Maybe, on the news channel, I talked about a potluck. And if there's not potluck, there's Cracker Barrel. Okay. Their food is good during the holidays. Just make sure you order beforehand. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Here's the thing. We're looking forward to our mama's yams. Okay. But if our mama's yams lead to stress and not value and love, it's not worth it. Traditions are supposed to bring you joy, not stress. It's something you should be looking forward to, not dreading. So how do we create those boundaries to be able to protect looking forward to things? By using discernment. Using discernment. Do I dread this? Am I stressed out about this? Why am I stressed out? What am I feeling right now? Is it anger when you think about that situation that you said that you didn't say no to? Is it disappointment? Is it sad? Are you sad that maybe you were supposed to say yes to someone coming to your house, but you were too worried about what the other person thought because they didn't like them? How do you feel in that moment? Because that's where you're going to find the core issue to be able to replace it with the core value. Okay. So in doing that, is anybody, and I want you to feel free to unmute if anybody wants to share a particular situation that comes up when I ask that question, and just kind of talk about it, like if you want to share it, because you don't know. Like, the encouragement here is that your experience may resonate with another ladies in here. And remember, this is a safe space for vulnerability, sharing, and learning. And what happens here is confidential. Okay. So I do want to make that known that we do not share things in this group with other people anywhere else. That is highly, highly important to me. This is a place where you can be ugly and share the ugly things, and be honest about these situations, because the holidays can trigger these very hurtful times. Because maybe for me, I haven't spent a holiday with family since I was 15, if not 14 years old. And that took a lot of healing and a lot of grieving. And I learned to create my own traditions, but there are holidays where birthdays, I have to prepare myself. I have to show myself compassion. I have to define what that is. And so, is anybody willing to share? If not, I'm happy to do so, but I want to hear from you guys.
I'll share. So on my side, my stepdad he just has a lot of trauma. And so it's been a big struggle for us. And it's a little better now, but only because he has depression with all of the medical issues that have been happening. So I don't dread it as much, although I feel bad that he is in that place. And then on my in-law side, just the drive to Vermont, I dread. But it'll be okay. It'll be better this year because the kids are older. Nathaniel's sisters are very rude. He's the black sheep, or he's a scapegoat for his dad. And they can just be very anti. And so I kind of get some of that just because I'm married to him. But it's getting better. And then toys. I dread the children getting toys. Like, it causes so much contention throughout the whole year. And then trying to pack it all. And we have a wish list, and they find things on sale, or they don't want to get it off the wish list, or they are trying to, it's a passive aggressive. I don't know if it's passive aggressive or whatever. So those are my things, but especially the toys. Sisters have gotten better. So yeah.
Mm, that's really, really good. So is that like something that that I'm sure that brings dread or concern or worry or stress, and it can steal away from like the actual love and the value and the joy that it could bring potentially, but then we have this,
Mhm.
right? So what do we do about it? Right? Um, I want you to hold on to that. And I want you to bring it up to me towards the end, because maybe I'll answer it in this call. And if I don't, bring it up so we can talk about it specifically. I have some thoughts on that. Anybody else? Go ahead, Tiff.
Yeah, so mine is primarily around my parents and my mom specifically.
You
Tiff, you
muted.
muted.
Oh yeah, you did. You
Bummer,
made it.
dude. Okay. Mine is primarily around my parents and my mom specifically. I was just on the phone yesterday with her, and she said this exact phrase again. And my family and I, as a whole, as a collective, the different pieces of my family were very different. 99% of my family is not Christians. I am definitely the outsider in that way. And most of my family and I don't see each other. We don't talk. We don't have any actual relationship. And so when it comes to the holidays, my mom is really the glue that kind of holds that together. Like, if my mom wasn't around, nobody would ever call me for another family function again, type of thing.
Mm,
And my mom, she just said this again yesterday, is very much of the mindset of, well, we get together for the holidays. That's what family does. That's what you do. Even if they're not trying, you still have to try. And I think maybe I can say here in this space that it's clear that I'm not of that mindset anymore. But when the rest of the people that you're about to interact with are, it gets really hard to navigate that, because I still want to honor myself, and I can see where my mother's at. I can't change where she's at. I've tried to have gentle conversations with her, and it's like not happening right now. And so knowing that I can't change my mom's mind, I can't change that expectation of the rest of my family, but I'm still trying to honor myself and where I'm at and where I'm going and where I'm taking my kids. And I'm trying to be a good example of boundaries and stuff like that for my kids. And I also want them to see their family that they love. They're 6 and 7
right.
years old. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh, we
Uh,
don't see eye to eye
right.
on this thing. So we're not going that far with it. And so it really feels like, when it comes to holidays and getting together, it really feels like I feel like I'm people pleasing, because gotta show up, gotta do the thing. And it's very much like keeping up with the Joneses, like keeping up appearances. That's only just like surface level conversation. Nobody really cares how you're doing. Like, for the rest of my family, like, as soon as they open their gifts, like as soon as the last present is ripping open, they're like, well, time to pack up, gotta go. Thanks for the gifts. Bye. Like, it's a very like transactional thing, and it's not relational, it's not from love, and it's just super uncomfortable for me. And so I'm trying to figure out how to navigate stuff like that, and how that's going to look for my kids too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want my kids to see me just like kind of bowing over like a doormat just because the family expects it. But I also want to I'm not trying to excommunicate anybody either and go super extreme, so
Mhm.
that's really hard for me to navigate through holidays and stuff like that. And I think there's, for me, the feeling that comes from it is really like it's guilt, I think, for me. I don't really get, obviously there's a part of me that wishes there was a different dynamic, but I'm living in reality, not potential. And so it just is what it is. There's been a lot of acceptance there. But for me, it's, I know that I can't change them and I can't control them or anything like that. But I know what I want to do. I know how I wish I could navigate things, but it would not mesh in any capacity within the rest of the situation. And so it makes me feel like, well, when it comes to this, it's you're either in or you're out. And so you're just people pleasing. You're just doing what the family expects you to do with no care as to what you want. And so it makes me feel guilty that I'm not, I don't know, I guess standing up for myself in that way, or I'm not even really sure what conversations I could have or what I could change. So it makes me feel very like out of control too, you know.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Yeah. I have thoughts about that too. I actually want to go ahead and answer that because there's so much as you're talking. Is that okay? Is that okay? Just real quick. So, I want to bring it back to the first off, that's so valid, right? We want to spend time with our family during the holidays. No one wants to be alone during the holidays. No one. Maybe for 10 minutes, maybe for an hour, but not in general, right? That's a really hard, actually, just like it's an easy boundary. And here's what I say to that. It's so easy for us to be like, we're just going to do it by ourselves, right? But maybe that's not the solution. And it's also invalidating your feelings. Because you brought up a good point, which is what I want to bring it to with the kids. You want your kids to experience that family dynamic, the cousins, the aunts. It's beautiful. I mean, it's such a blessing and such a treasure when we have that. And that is so important. And the things that I want you to here's what I did. Now, mine is a little bit more dysfunctional and in depth. And Natalie, this may also help you in this regard as well. But we have to look at that. So what do we want, right? So practical. Make a list of what do I want during the holidays? What do I want my kids to experience? What do I want? Well, how do I want to feel? How do I want them to feel? And you have to define that by writing that down. And then on the other end of that, what is actually happening? So then we're writing down what is actually happening during the holidays. And then look at both of those lists and be like, oh, I want this so bad that I keep putting up with this thinking that it'll change. But for years, it's been this. That's when we know what boundaries to set in place. It's easy to be like, just be done with it. Maybe that's not the answer. Maybe there's something more that we can create for this. Maybe not all of this, but there is something we can create. And so the thing is, it's like with your situation, Tiff, I want you to look at that. Like you have such a desire for you and your kids to experience, and you also see such good in everyone that the good can drive us to keep putting up with behavior, which guess what is triggering the people pleasing aspect of you, right? And so we need to be which you have the ability, the self-awareness of being like, is this going to happen or do I really, really want it to happen? There's a difference. So does this person have the potential to respect this boundary or this atmosphere? Or do I just want them to? And that's where we compromise. That's where we compromise our boundaries. That's where we break up relationships. That's where we don't break up relationships. Those are all very broad answers, right? But in these kind of situations, we have to be so intentional because everybody wants something out of this. And if we can do our best to gain the connection and what did I say, nourish the relationship, then it can be a beautiful thing. It can be a beautiful holiday. And so what do you do with people that it's like, okay, well, they're not like this, but I'm like this. It's very transactional. In that regard of what your situation, I'm going to explain situation for situation. I have two of them, and maybe they'll come to you. One situation that comes to mind is, again, I've been doing holidays on my own for quite some time now. I've had a few where I've had people over, but I'm actually really, really content with just my family, with my husband and my kids. I'm so content, but I've been doing it for years. But my perspective in this is that list is that for years in the beginning, when I first had children, I was like going to Alabama and I was just like trying to hold on to the positive things that I remember in holiday aspect, and then kind of like holding on to it so much that I would just kind of pass over the negative. And then when I would go and spend time with these people, I was always disappointed. I was always disappointed. It was always much more stressful. And it wasn't that I had this feeling of regret, more so as I had this feeling of exhaustion, and I actually wasn't getting anything out of that except for negative feelings, negative experiences. So I had to ask myself a question in going to Alabama and visiting these people. And it was this, you know, am I believing the culture lie that like we have to put up with shit? Excuse my language, but we have to put up with the dysfunctional family members and get over it. We have to put up with Uncle Steve, who just talks about politics and is just like projecting and throwing up his beliefs. Do we have to put up with Diana, who could have a manic episode any moment and make our kids afraid because it's Christmas? Like, there's this cultural lie that we have to put up with things. Well, first off, can we throw that out the window right now? That's not true. We don't have to put up with anything. We get to create our own traditions. So you need to give yourself, you ladies are trailblazers. This goes with the holidays. Do you understand me? This goes with the holidays. Just because it's Christmas and Thanksgiving doesn't mean that your trailblazing, leading, breaking curses goes away. Oh no, this is the potential to use it. And that's what I did. So in looking at what I wanted to what I wasn't getting, I tried to find a decision. And the decision was that for me, it was better that I stayed within my household with my two children. I was a single mom, okay, when I had to make this decision. And I created the best experiences ever. I created them. I did that. I took my kids to go do Toys for Tots and give them we did Toys for Tots when I was broke. Okay. Churches paid for our Christmas gifts. We did have Santa at 12 o'clock in the morning, dropping Christmas gifts on my porch because I could not buy my kids Christmas. But even then, I could buy cookie dough from the grocery store and we could make cookies and we could do cutouts and we could get little pajamas from the thrift store and I could get shoe boxes and put a bag of popcorn in there and we could get a movie. And we were going to decorate the tree with all the Dollar Tree decorations, and it was the best. And they didn't know any different because I wasn't projecting my own loss of needs onto my children. I decided to take a position. I took a leader position by accepting that they were not going to change. But was I okay with it? No, I wasn't. I wasn't okay with it. So for me, I created my own traditions by letting go of what I really, really wanted, and by giving the season of giving my kids what they needed. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say? At the end of the day, it's not about Uncle Steve and crazy Diana. Okay, Aunt Diana. It's about you and your children and your spouse and the kind of holidays that you want to have. So the third list I'm going to ask you is, I want you to write a list and define what is something that is important to me for my kids to have during the holidays that they take with them. What is important to me for me to have? For me, Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. And I love it. I wake up, my husband cooks. I make a charcuterie board. Okay. We're going to call it cha-cha board. That's going to be on a shirt too. Okay. A charcuterie board. I can never say it. Yes. Charcuterie. Why do they have to make it so difficult? Anyways, I wake up, I make my kids like a cute holiday drink. And now every day, like we're close to the holidays, even last night, Mom, we got to make our holiday drinks. They're not thinking about, Mom, I didn't get to see Uncle Steve. Mom, I didn't get to see Aunt Diana. Mom, I didn't get to see Grandma. No, No, they're thinking about the things that I put in position. I sat myself in a position, and now guess what? I get to reap what I created, and it is so good. And now I look forward to the holidays. I don't dread them because I'm not living in an expectation the way I think things should go, or maybe that they went before and they don't anymore. Maybe somebody's sick and they can't do those things anymore that they used to do. And that's sad, but we have to grieve that. But then guess what? That's potential for you to create that for yourself. Okay. That's one setting is like, specifically for you, Tiff, like you have like, what can you put up with? What can you not put up with? What are boundaries you can set in place so it doesn't feel transactional? What are your kids really benefiting by this? What are they losing? Are they gaining the experiences that you want them to gain? Or are they just gaining more heartache and disappointment? Is your disappointment affecting them? Like, is it stealing away from you that you can't even be in the moment with your children? And at the end of the day, when you're getting older, that's the only thing that's going to matter. It's not going to be about Uncle Steve. If Uncle Steve ain't Uncle Steve anymore, maybe he's sick or he's just like, you know what? I'm grown and my eyes are open to your dysfunction and I don't think I want this for my kids. Then be the trailblazer that you need to be and do what you need to do. That's the realization of the holidays. I want you guys to throw out everything that you think you need to do. Throw it out the window, put it in the trash can and burn it. What do you want to do? What do you want to honor? And if the people that can't respect that, okay, then you need to ask yourself, are you okay with the fact that they won't and you want to still go? And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Or are you like, you know what? This is way too important to me. I think I'm going to pass on going over there and I'm only going to do one house. And I'll do my in-laws' house next year. Whatever that is for you. Who said you have to go to 4 different houses? Someone else, because you don't want to do it. And if you want to do it, ask yourself why. If I've had people like, no, I want to do it, but why? Why do you want to go to 4 different houses? What are you gaining? You're seeing everybody for what, a split second? Because I can tell you on the other end, they probably feel like Tiffany and it's transactional. You could actually be hurting them. And then guess what? That's a cycle of them hurting you. Because now they're going to confront you for you trying to make them happy and see them. And it's like, right? Because these transactions are not intentional. Nobody's trying to hurt anybody during the holidays. That's not what we're doing here. But because we're trying to do all of the things and doing the have to things that we actually don't have to do, it's actually taking away from the things that we truly could be enjoying. Right? And so my second thing in that story that comes to mind is I have my in-laws here now. Well, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law. So I do have some family members here. And it's interesting because the holidays, like for the most part, we've been here for almost 3 years. We've only spent one holiday together because everybody keeps getting sick. Somebody's family keeps getting sick. But when I spend time with them and they used to come to the Outer Banks as well, it's actually really, really nice. Like we do Halloween together. Is it in depth? No. Do we have deep conversations? No. Is it mostly solely focused on kids or trick-or-treating or football? Yeah. Is it surface? Yeah, 99% of the time. But surface is fine too. Okay? Because I get to enjoy the people that I've already accepted for who they are. I can share the things that I can share and I hold back the things that I can't. And I'm okay with that. And if it's about the kids, I'm okay with that too. And if it feels transactional and they just go trick-or-treating and have some chili and leave, I'm okay with that too. You know why? Because I've prepared myself for that. And here's the thing, my kids, it's that list again. My kids are gaining something from them coming. Even if they leave right after. My kids are not thinking, oh my gosh, they just left. Like they're not thinking that. They're children. They're innocent. And it's not hurting them. It's not harming them. It's not like putting them in danger. It's not affecting their emotional state. It's not doing any of that. They have a certain boundary. I have a certain boundary. But are my kids gaining value from them coming? Abso-freaking-lutely. And I am, because they are. And it's an enjoyable experience because I've set my expectations, I've set my boundaries, and I've accepted them for who they are. And I'm okay with that. Now, if my in-laws were like coming over and they're like, you need to come over to our house and we need to do it over here, and they give me their opinion of why they should do it. First off, I don't make myself available for other people's opinions. There's no opportunity to squeeze an opinion over here. I don't tell people, like, I don't even entertain it. I'm like, this is what we're doing. Or if they say that's what they're doing, I'm like, I respect that that's what they're doing. It's not up for discussion. Am I okay with that? If I'm not okay, well, kids, we're doing our own thing today. You have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with that. And if you're not, that's fine. But figure out what that is. What does that look like for you? What will you put up with? What will you not put up with? Like if my in-laws tell me that they have to have it at their house and they're going to do this kind of meat and they're not going to cook that and they're going to spend it at this time, I have to go to my husband and analyze, like, are we okay with that? Is that what we want for our family? Like, are we put up with that? And maybe we come up with a plan that, like, you know what? It's okay till this time, so let's stay here till 4:00. Let them know, hey, we're going to be leaving at 4:00. We can't wait to see you. There's no, this is why I'm leaving. This is where I'm going. This is why I'm not doing that. No, you don't have to do that either, babe. You guys don't have to do that. You're in control. You're a trailblazer. So at the beginning of your notes, you're trailblazing for the holidays. That doesn't stop. Giving is not giving your soul. It is not giving your soul. It is protecting your soul. And you protecting and giving yourself compassion is literally giving room to truly give the other ones around you compassion as well, but in a very, very healthy way. So any questions, thoughts, concerns, confusion? Is that helpful? So I just ran over a lot of our time. I'm going to try to breeze over these things and then kind of stop where I need to stop. Communication. This is a good one because I have some tangible things here. I really wanted to do role playing, but if you guys aren't comfortable doing that, that's fine. But I wanted to do some role playing because communication, you guys, is number one here. Communication is number one here. Because here's the thing. In having effective communication, it's actually the bridge of boundaries. And so it empowers you to express your needs confidently. And I want to dive into the assertive communication. I want us to know that assertive communication is necessary. It is healthy and it is okay. It is good. Jesus was very assertive in what the truth was, with love and authority. And if people were offended, that wasn't his problem. That was their problem. And so I wanted us to practice like a role play, be able to assertively communicate, but in a very natural style that is us, where you're not losing the way you, like, Tiffany, you're like, hear me out. There's this thing. Like, I don't want you to lose your core, the way you communicate, but I do want you to be assertive in who you are. You guys, this is necessary for your confidence. This is it right here. This is like embracing who you are, but making who you are like the stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so I wanted to talk to you guys about how to do that. And here's what else this is going to do. Not only is it going to help you do it in the way that is authentic to you, but it helps you communicate more effectively. And then also it'll help you understand how to assert your boundaries in real life, and be able to do this in a way that is natural for you without anxiety taking over or overthinking taking over. And so just real quick, I guess I did some examples, but maybe not a lot of them. The Bible verse here is, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. I want this to be the verse where we define how we're communicating, because you can let fruitfulness come out of your mouth and still be assertive in your own needs. Saying no is not a bad word. Creating boundaries is not a bad word. You're just doing it in a way that is confident within yourself and that you're okay with. That's why those understanding, defining those boundaries for you and your children, your family are important. And then this right here, I just want to go through this and then we'll role play. Cultivating inner peace. So I want you guys to practice doing this really quick. Here's the Bible verse, Philippians 4:7. And I read this morning. The peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. And what goes before that is that give all your requests unto Jesus. Like it's give all your prayer. I wrote it down. Prayers and petitions to Jesus. Hold on, let me find it because it's really, really important. Because there's like this important part in it. Okay. Do not worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Okay. Tell God what you need and thank him for all he has done. Then you will experience I heard this very differently. I've heard this verse a million times, but I heard this very differently this morning. Experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus. Okay. So when I read this verse this morning, for some reason, it hit me very differently. And I think it's because for me, I just had a conversation with my older sister yesterday, and there were some things I needed to give back to him. And a lot of that was that, like, the way she is or the way my family is, if I'm not careful and I try to hold on to these things that worry me, it'll hurt my heart. It'll create bitterness within me. It'll steal from me. And I didn't really understand how to process that. But sometimes, you guys ready for this? You ready? This is what the Lord gave me this morning. Sometimes some things aren't meant to be processed. They're just meant to be prayed for. It's not my job to spend time trying to understand someone, trying to process the feeling of how they make me feel. It is my job, and the only thing I can do is to give it over unto the Lord. Some things aren't meant to be processed, they're meant to be prayed for. And so I'm giving over back what was all the things that I were told last night with my sister. And then I go into this. When I give it to him and I stop trying to process it, you guys, and I stop trying to understand it, he's guarding my heart and my mind. That's where the guarding is. Let's make this tangible. Let's make this practical. That's what it is. It's not like this spiritual essence of like, oh, let me meditate on your peace, but also process through these feelings. And come on, Jesus, we'll do this together. No, I'm giving this to you. I don't understand it. I don't like it. I don't want to worry about it. I'm giving it onto you. And for some reason, you guys, and we're getting off topic. Gosh, it's the Lord Jesus, I guess. Practicing peace building exercise. You guys look at these notes, but these are some things that we're going to talk about, which goes along with what I'm about to share with you. And then stepping into a tranquil holiday season takeaways. I want you guys, towards the end of this, we're going to role play. I'm going to share a vision with you that the Lord gave me this morning. I don't know who it's for, but it's back on my heart again. And I literally have no idea why. I have no idea. This is a very random vision. And then it's probably prophetic. And then the third thing is, we are going to talk about commitments. I want you guys to, at least out loud to me, name a commitment that you're going to keep for protecting a peaceful holiday. So, and then I want to see heartfelt gratitude for your presence and dedication to self-care. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts since as members of one body. Are you guys doing okay so far with this? Is this really good for you guys? Okay, good, because it is what it is. Holy Spirit's going to do what he wants to do. But I want to go back into, I'm going to actually, you guys, I'm going to leave these notes with you, but also I have my own specific outline notes of what I wanted to cover. So I will have that outlined and sent to you in a way that you can understand and you guys can go over it yourselves. Because I didn't get to cover everything. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is go, what did I say that I wanted to do? Role play and then go over practical aspects of protecting your peace in this vision. Is that what I said? Okay. Does anybody want to role play with me? Okay, Natalie, let's role play. So Natalie, I would love if you like, I want to honor you in this, but I would love to role play what you just asked me about your situation with toys, because I hate that too, by the way. I don't get it. Why do we have to give our kids excessive consumptions of things? Like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna literally, this is what we're doing as our kids getting older. My husband and I fought about it because he loves giving toys and I don't. Okay. But I was like, why don't we take all of our money? We pick a child every Christmas to love on, like a child overseas with Compassion International or whoever, and donate, pick a child, have our kids pick a child, and then because then they're giving, but then also go on a trip. Like, can we just go on a family trip and create an experience? I don't know if that's helpful for you guys, but that's what I want to do as they get older because, like, I'm throwing away these toys like a year later. Come on, people. This is ridiculous. People are dying. Natalie, I would love to actually role play that with you, but I want to honor you. So I'm gonna be the who is it that buys your sister? Who your sister-in-law who's buying the toys?
My mother-in-law has the love language of gift giving, so she loves to give the most.
Okay.
And then brother-in-law chooses what he thinks the kid he would have loved to have as a kid, and that's what he gives. For
Okay.
Andrew's birthday, we got a robot set with a ton of pieces that required directions that you had to read for an 8-year-old or over. He just turned 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Gabrielle got a recorder for her 2nd birthday.
Okay. Well, also, this is probably going to keep happening, just FYI. They're probably going to always do that. Like, I have people that will always get my kids things that candies and stuff that I don't want them to have. But you want to know what you do? Talk to your kids, not to the adults. Go to your children and be like, this is so amazing. I love that we have this stuff. And I tell my kids that I'm like, this is so great. Like, we're going to accept it and we're going to be grateful for it because to them, that is their love language. You just made a good point, Natalie. That's their love language and they don't know any better. And to them, that's their heart. They're literally giving their heart to your babies, right? Like, if we look at it from an empathetic point of view. So what do? We protect our children. We teach our children to take and receive and be thankful for what they got, but at the same time have boundaries and like, okay, look, okay, mom, I want to honor you in this as well. And so for my kids, like they know they communicate certain things, even relationships. There's only family members that come around just to give them a gift and never call them and never talk to them. And honestly, like never, nothing. But my kids know that. And they're like, okay, here we go, this time of year again. But they know to be respectful and kind and loving and make that moment so special for them. My kids are actually serving as they're being served. Does that make sense?
Yeah. The other thing is we have a packed van and we don't have a lot of space to carry.
You travel?
Yeah, like we got this big 2 of these big boxes with puzzles that are too big for our kids, like 34 piece for Aubrielle, and she was 2.
Okay.
So just
Well, then I would do your own. I would talk to your kids and tell them that you're going to have your own Christmas at home and open up gifts at home because Santa comes to every house. So Santa will leave Santa gifts at the house and you guys will do it another day. And then just like do what they have, like do the presents that they have and maybe bring a few.
So we would tell the family that we're not bringing home their presents.
The kids, are you traveling to other people's house to do Christmas?
We are driving to Vermont.
Yeah,
Christmas.
I would bring just a few gifts.
We don't bring gifts. Oh wait, you mean bring them home?
Well, okay. Are you talking about, oh, you don't have enough room for their stuff going home?
Yeah. We don't
Okay.
take our kids gifts. We do Epiphany.
Okay, I have an idea. Let's do this. Okay, I'm your family. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for you guys to come over. I got Andrew like the biggest Hot Wheel car. It's got a dinosaur. It's like 7 feet tall. Like, I can't wait to give it to him. Like, you guys need to be ready. Like, have the car, make room. Like, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to show you.
We will not have space for that. He can play with it at your house, but we'll have to leave it at your house.
But I want him to enjoy that. That's what
Well,
he really, really wanted.
you are welcome to mail it to our house and he can play with it when he gets here.
Well, then
Except
how is he going to open it up for Christmas?
you can give him a picture. It's actually less disappointing for him because he really wants to open it when he gets it, but then we have to tell him, no, we're not going to open it until we get there. So it's kind of a downer when he gets his present and then he has to look at it for a week and not be able to open it until we get home. So it would actually be more exciting for him to see the paper and then know that he can open it when he gets home.
But where's the surprise?
The paper.
On Christmas?
Yep.
I don't know, Natalie. I don't really like that. I really want him to experience it on Christmas and play with his toy.
Well, in the past, we've never let them open their toy. Your son has always said, we are not going to open it because it has lots of pieces and we don't want to lose the pieces.
So what do you suggest that I do? Because I want to see my grandson play with his toys on Christmas,
They don't have as much
which my
attitude.
son knows that I let him do. And this is just a part of this is what it's about. This is what it's about. This is what Christmas is about. That they get to play with their Christmas gifts, Natalie. So what do you expect me to do? This makes me very sad. I'm not going to lie.
Okay, they would never go this far, but I would just
But would you say that to them? What you just said to me?
Yes, I just feel like I need to say it in like preemptive, like say it up front. Like I want to tell them, okay, so this year our kids are not taking care of their gifts and we really want to respect your love and your money and the time that you spend searching for them. And so we have curated a list of things that they will use
Yes.
and they will love. And so these are the things that we can bring home. We would love for you to
I have a suggestion for you to avoid any of this uncomfortable conversation.
Okay.
To avoid even mom bringing it up. And it goes along with what you're saying. But I would never, honestly, you do not need to bring up about room unless necessary. That needs to be in your backpack. But we don't want to bring that out yet because that's a loaded gun. Let's just be real. Okay. It makes people uncomfortable. So the whole like, we don't have room for that could go so many directions. It's not even funny, behind your back or to your face. Keep that in the backpack because you're going to feel it regardless. You're going to discern it. You're going to feel the tension. It's going to make it worse. So this is what I would do. I would do exactly what you did, but I would actually take a more laid back. You can be laid back and be clear, by the way. You don't have to be like, this is where assertiveness comes in. This is the role playing aspect. This is what I would do. Is that okay if I show you what I do? If I know that they're like that, this is what I would do. I'd be like, oh my gosh, you guys. So Nathaniel and I already have an idea of what we want to get the kids, but they really asked for this after we went shopping and they want this. Do you guys think that like you could get them one of these 3 things? They would be so excited like to have this and tell me if you can make that work. If not, like we'll figure it out and we'll go get it. But like I know you guys want to get them gifts and this coming from you, oh my gosh, would be amazing. And we would be so grateful for it. Nothing else gets brought up. We don't need all that other stuff is super unnecessary. You and Nathaniel don't have to tell them about your room because you're giving them too much control by doing so.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And it is actually true because I need to order stuff through his learning fund. So if they're not going to buy it, then I need to know someone can buy it.
Right. So like we have family members, like I said, the people that just literally come and they give gifts for themselves, like you just said. So they give gifts. They're only kind during the holidays. Like they're those people, right? Because it makes them feel good about who they are. Other than that, they have nothing to do with my children. Okay. This is on their real father side, my two older ones. My kids know this. We've had these conversations. So what do? I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what? The kids want to talk to you. They have a list of things that I've already talked to them about. Okay. Um, where they can still feel loved and I'm not taking away. There's no resentment being built, but it's like, hey, let's be considerate of Mimi and Papa. This is what I do. And this is all honest truth. Okay. You guys think that it's lying. No, we're just not speaking unnecessary things that do not need to be talked about. We do not need to make our point. We do not need to take up the room and justify our case. This is not a court case. Okay. That's not what we're doing here. So with my kids, what I do is I'm like, okay, kids, listen, we need to be really considerate of Mimi and Papa. You guys are old enough to know that like things from them, like they're not Santa. They have to pay for it with their own money. And so we want to be very sensitive and considerate in what we ask for. So I suggested a few things. I heard you guys tell me what you wanted off your list. You made me and mommy and daddy a list to give to Santa or no Santa. I don't care what you guys do. Don't miss the point here. Okay. And then go to the list and then be like, okay, so I picked 5 things off the list you gave me that you can ask Mimi and Papa for. Which one do you want to ask? And then they know. So now you have your kids on the same page. You have taught your children boundaries in a way that they can comprehend until they get older. Then you teach them more boundaries. You let them in more about what's going on. And then when they go to Mimi and Papa or whatever, who it is for you, they're like, Mimi and Papa, when they're like, what do you want for Christmas, baby? What do you tell Mimi and Papa what you want? Oh, they know. Like, I really want this. I really want this Nintendo Switch, and it's like this, and it's this handheld thing, and I really want this game to go with it. And then everybody's effing happy. Yay! I protected peace and happiness. Right?
Yes.
And guess what? That means I get to enjoy them. And they get to enjoy my kids. And my kids get to enjoy them. And I get to enjoy my children. And the holidays are happy.
Okay, what about all the extra things that get put in the stocking?
Oh, they have separate stockings from other people, which wasn't my idea. So the stocking stuff, do they get them a stocking, or do they get them stuff to put in a stocking?
She fills a stocking for everyone. Last year, Aubrielle got a ceramic elephant mug that we had to travel back with.
So the stocking stuff, well, the Mimi and Papa get them like a toothbrush thing, a whole box of things. Like it's a present within a stocking. It is what it is. A few things. One, choose your battles. That's not going to take up a lot of room, my sweet little friend. Okay.
It's
Okay.
just like stuff. And then it's like
and it all gets thrown away. I secretly throw it away, by the way. I'm like,
okay,
in the garbage. You didn't notice that. You forgot about that gift. Because they're going to forget about a lot of that stuff, right? They're going to get so much stuff. It's like, beep, 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 beep. Or I hide them like, let mommy and daddy take your candy and we're going to put it in a bowl because we only do 2 pieces a day. And then I'm going to throw it out within like a couple weeks. And you're not going to remember. Okay. So kind of like in that regard, here's what I want you to do. I want you guys to hear me, and this is free and you're welcome. Okay. Boundaries are not for other people. They are for you. We do not need to go out in the world and be like, this is my boundary, everybody. No, they're for you. They're intimately for you. They're not for everyone. There are so many boundaries that I have that no one knows about. My husband literally, we have been together for almost 10 years. My husband just a couple nights ago has discovered one of my boundaries in communicating. He knows it's a boundary now because I had to let him know, but he didn't know before. He's like, hey, why do you do this? I'm like, oh, it's a boundary of mine. Like, if you make your point to protect my peace and regulate my emotions, I don't want to get into a whole explanation discussion with you. I will validate your point and your decision, and I will respect it, but I don't need an explanation because, honey, I love you, and I do. I have a great man. Y'all have met him, okay? Let me tell you something. That man, he is a perfectionist. Like, he's a perfectionism, and if he can't do something for his wife, I mean, homeboy made me homemade macaroni and cheese at 4:00 in the morning this morning, okay? Because he wanted me to eat. I'm not fucking kidding, okay? Okay, this is who he is. And so I told him in my boundary that he figured out, he didn't know it was a boundary yet. He's like, well, I just feel like you don't want to hear me. I was like, no, baby, I heard you, right? He's like, yeah. And I was like, and I validated, right? And he's like, yeah. And I said, I love you. And I say this with so much respect. And so I build. I've taught all of you how to do this. king man. Okay. You're still king man. And then coming in with the, but baby, you're not explaining for me. You're explaining for you. You feel bad that you can't do something. I've already accepted the decision. So you're wanting to explain isn't for me why you can't do it, because I didn't ask for it. I didn't ask why. Because you feel bad, babe. That doesn't mean I don't want to hear you. That just means that if I go into hearing you, can I be real with you about what that's going to do to me? It's going to trigger the feelings of abandonment and unworthiness and the whole of like my feelings and my issues don't matter, rather than just like it's a yes no kind of thing, babe. Let me deal with my emotions. But if you go into explaining like, and I can't do it because of this and because of this, you're going to subconsciously gaslight me. And he's like, babe, with the analyzing, I said, it's my job. I get paid to do this. So listen, okay? Just kidding. But he knows that. And I said, it's so can we be real? I was like, it's unnecessary. I didn't ask for it. But you know me enough that if I do not understand something or I don't agree, I will ask you. And then I will be prepared to listen, to reason. But I don't need reason in this situation. And it's my boundary to protect my emotional state of being by being respectful and loving, protecting the peace in my home, and being able to not let the enemy in to trigger emotions, if that makes sense. He just discovered that. So again, that boundary was for me. I said, you just discovered it because it wasn't for you. It was for me because I love you. But here we are. Right? And so the stalking stuff, Natalie, it's either for me, like I choose my battles. So I'm like, I honestly hate all of it. Like I'm with you. Like I want to go on a trip. I wanted a destination wedding. Okay. But if I can get the gift aspect, I'm good. Like I said, what are you okay with? Right. And then, or if it really does bother you, Natalie, and this is me being big sister here, you ready? And I'm not after you, Natalie. I'm talking to all of you ladies. Okay. Why? Why does it actually bother you, honey? I'd ask myself that. Like, I used to fight with these people. Like, you wouldn't even believe. I hated cupcakes. Stop bringing my kids cupcakes now. Stop it. No more red dye. I hate it. Okay. But you know what I did? Why did I do that, though? There was an aspect of me that it really wasn't about red dye and sugar. It was about control. It was about proving myself and my position in their life. I'm their mother. I care for them. I take care of them. I pay the bills. You don't get none of da 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 da. It was very rooted in control. And the control aspect was rooted in insecurity because of their own father abandoning them. Does that make sense? Now, I'm not saying that's your issue, but I do want you to do a few things. One is if it's not that big of a deal, let it go. At the end of the day, do your own thing. Throw the candy away. No one will notice. It'll be between you and God will be like, I got you. Do it. No Snickers. Right? Like, do your own thing. Or if it really is like a conviction for you, everybody has their own. I really want you to make sure it's conviction and not control, babe. This is big sister, okay? Where it's like, why does that bother me for real? I want you to analyze that. And then the third thing is, I want you to avoid at all costs. I think a boundary for everyone should be telling people about your boundaries. I actually want you to avoid the car thing, the room. I want you to avoid the mac and cheese and the red dye. They don't give a shit. I'm sorry. I love all of you. Okay. But I'm passionate about this. I tell my husband, I'm not lack of self-control. I'm just passionate. Okay. These are my passionate words. He's like, you can use different words. I'm like, okay, you're right. Sorry. But I want you nobody cares. And here's the thing, they don't need to care. And it's going to make them uncomfortable because you're trying to get them to understand something that they do not understand. Paul says, when I'm with the poor, I'm poor. And when I'm with the rich, I'm rich. So if you know that they don't see things, Tiffany, I hope you're listening to me. If they don't see things in that way, then the reality is you have to accept it. What are you okay with? What battles can you choose? What boundaries can you place intentionally for yourself and for your family? The end. I'm talking a lot. Sorry, you guys. Tell me where you at with all of the things. We have 5 minutes, so I want to know how you guys are feeling. What did I say? Role play. We just did role play. What was the second thing?
Vision.
Vision. Was there something else? Role play. Oh, I know, protecting your peace. I just covered it. That goes within the boundaries, protecting your peace. If you want to spend time with these people, just know that you're going to throw the candy away in 2 weeks. That's what we'll call it. Right? Does it really matter? Right? At the end of the day, those are peace protections. What is define your own peace protection? What is that for you guys? Now, then I want you to name it. Let me share the vision. So I want you guys remember to name something that's going to protect your peace so you can be present. I want you guys to name one thing that you got today that you promised me you're going to commit to for the holidays. And then I don't know what this is. So I'm just going to ask Jesus to keep going into this vision that he showed me briefly this morning, especially when I read that verse that I just read about prayer and petition, and that he would guard our hearts and our minds. I just see a swing set. I see a wooden swing, and it's in the woods. It's on a tree. And there's a little girl standing beside the swing set, and the swing is swaying back and forth. That's all I see. And so I don't know why, but when I saw this verse, when I read this verse this morning and just now, I saw a swing set, a wooden swing set on a tree. There's no one on it. It's just swaying back and forth. But there's a little girl standing beside the swing. She's standing like in front of it, but she's not on it. She's hesitant. And then when I dive deep into this little girl, when I'm now shifting and thinking about her, she's nervous, but she wants on that swing. But she won't get on because she's afraid. But the person waiting to swing the swing set is Jesus. He wants her to get on the swing and to enjoy herself. But she's hesitant and she's afraid, but she doesn't know why. I don't know what that's about. Anybody? If you guys don't know, it could be just for me. It could be one of those things that'll come up like tomorrow or in an hour. Or if you see a swing set when you're going through something. It could be, that's what I want you to take from here. Like, no pressure to answer. But should pay attention, because this could be for me. Or I really genuinely feel the Holy Spirit, why he showed me that. And it could be one of those things that you're about to go through something very difficult and scary, but it's a good thing. It's enjoyable, but you're afraid to get on the swing. And Jesus may show you a wooden swing when you're walking, when you're at the park. You never know. And you're like, oh, I remember that. So just kind of pay attention. Okay. So if you don't have questions, if there's nothing that resonates right now in this moment to that vision that is from God, so remember it, then what is the one thing that you're going to do this holiday to protect your peace? Go. Natalie, you first.
We're going to call my mother-in-law this weekend for a different reason, but I will coach our children.
Yes.
I don't
Coach
know
the
what to do
children.
about it.
Okay, Coach Natalie. I love
I don't know
it.
what to do about the sisters-in-law, but
Is the sisters-in-law, do they give gifts too?
yeah.
The same thing.
One of them just had a baby though. The baby is like less than 2 weeks old. So I don't know what's going on with them, but then the other one lives with my mother-in-law. So maybe we'll have the conversation with them at the same time. I
Yeah,
don't know. I
I
don't
love
know,
it.
but I also don't want to assume that they're getting gifts. Like, I feel like
I
that's,
wouldn't have with the 2-week old. If that is that her first baby?
yeah,
Oh yeah, I wouldn't expect too much. Right.
yeah.
Like it's different with our nieces and nephews when we ain't got kids. But when we got kids, like like the Dollar Tree, okay, we're writing you a card. That's what we're doing. Also, another thing, you guys do not have to get teachers gifts. Okay. I know that most of you homeschool your children. All of you actually homeschool your children. So
I'm
don't
gonna
worry
get a
about
teacher
that.
gift. I'm getting a teacher gift.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
getting
One
a
for
teacher
myself.
if
a
you
teacher
want
gift.
to, yes, you get you guys
Get
gifts.
yourself a teacher.
Treat
My
your
teacher gift is a
teacher, treat
massage
yourself.
and my nails. I'm gonna get my nails done.
There
I'm
you
gonna get a
go.
massage, and I'm gonna get my
Yes,
hair done for the first time in a year and a half. I have not had my hair done in a year.
that's my girl. That's my
Yay,
girl.
treat
Merry
yourself.
Christmas.
Treat yourself. Yes. Yeah, so there's other clients that I tell them like you're not obligated to get the teachers a gift, okay? You're not obligated to get anyone a gift. If money is tight and you just need to buy for your family, that is okay. Do not feel obligated. But if you do, and it is so important and it's a tradition, what me and my in-laws do is we did one year where it was really tight. We just moved here and we did Dollar Tree gifts. We did Secret Santa only at the Dollar Tree. Okay. And all the kids got to pick out everybody's gift. The second year, we did a like $20 thing, right? And you can't go beyond $20 and you only get for one person in that family. So, you know, just make your own rules. Have fun with it. You're a trailblazer.
Tell those clients that what the teachers really want is a note of appreciation.
No,
Oh.
I was a teacher. I want freaking wine and a gift card. Okay. I want you to go get me a gift card to get my nails done. And I want you to get me wine. That's what I want. I was a teacher. Stop bringing me like best teacher gifts. But yeah, the notes of appreciation do mean a lot. Yeah. But the thing is like I want it from the when I think about that, like I get the way I taught was like I taught younger kids and they were always leaving me notes and pictures of how much they love me. And so I was pretty content there. And I didn't really care about the parents if they appreciated me or not because it wasn't about them. Anyways, for me, it was like I have to deal with your children and I don't make a lot of money. So I want to get my nails done and I want you know, a gift card, like a good money amount. Don't give me $5 coffee. You can't even buy $5 coffee anymore, okay? And a bottle of wine. And they did. They did that. So I had on my desk though, like in a funny way, like, please do not get me any more cups that say best teacher. I love all your kids, but I don't need any more cups. Okay. Okay.
I think my boundary this year is going to be like choosing how many things we go to this year because the last 11 years since Blake and I were married, we've tried to make it to every single family thing, extended family, immediate family, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, they all do something, you know, and we're invited to all of them. And I feel like we had like 5 Christmases every year we have to try to get to, and 3 Thanksgivings. And it just gets really exhausting trying to split our time between everybody, especially with all the kids. But it's like we're almost expected to do those things because they've all been here for us and all the stuff. And it's like, I'm at the point now where it's like, no, my mental health can't do that anymore. It's too much for me to try to make a dish for every single event that we're going to.
Oh
I've got all the
God.
children. Yeah.
No.
I've got a baby. Like, and
And you
the
have all
main
the
thing is like,
kids? Ma'am. No, ma'am.
I
No,
know.
ma'am.
So I think, this year I've decided we're doing Thanksgiving with my extended family on Thanksgiving Day. Like my mom's brother and sister and brother and my aunt. So like we're having Thanksgiving Day with them because my mother-in-law likes to wait to the very last minute and then all of a sudden there's like we have to be here and bring this, this, and this, and this. And I'm
No,
like, I don't want to do that.
yeah,
No.
that's their, and I would release her from that too. I would be like, hey, this is what we're doing. Don't stress.
Hey, mommy.
We love you.
No.
I'm done with school.
Okay, good job.
Hi, Opal.
Yeah. Guys, can you stop running? that running.
She's in class, obviously, you know, when the teacher turns around and they all go crazy.
Yeah, okay, crazy.
That's what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm just gonna tell her like, hey, we're doing Thanksgiving Day here. If you guys want to do it on a separate day and have like a luncheon, I'm happy to come, but I'm not going to bring a dish this year. I just don't have it in there. And then for Christmas, I've decided because we've always done Christmas morning. Christmas morning I have like swimming class. And I think this year I'm gonna make it a boundary. Like, no, we're gonna have Christmas morning with our family, and like you can have the evening, or you can have another day that we can come and they can open gifts at your house. But I feel like we should have Christmas morning with our family because we've never done it. We always do our Christmas a separate day.
No. Yeah, things are changing. You have
Mhm.
a few things. One, like a new best friend. Okay. That's not happening anymore. And second, I'm a proud teacher right now. I just love that. Like that is such a boundary for us. Like we do Christmas morning at our house. Like there's no negotiating. Like my kids want to wake up in their pajamas, and so do I. Have coffee and open up their gifts. Yeah. I'm proud of you. You better stick to it. I'm gonna hold you accountable to that. All right, Kara. What is one thing you promised to protect your peace this holiday?
I have no idea. Truthfully, y'all, I have no idea.
Why not? Why not?
The holidays have always been chaos for me and Zeke. But especially since my dad died, it's been it's been years of me not wanting to do anything and me not being around any family whatsoever because we live far away from all family. So this year is the first time in a while since my dad died that we're going to be around any family, and it's Thanksgiving. We're going to be around Zeke's family, who is very intellectual and very not my jam. And we were talking about this in therapy last night. How there's a decent amount of fear on my side of just feeling like I'm not going to measure up because they're all politics talks and very much on the left side, and that's all they talk about. There's nothing
That has nothing to do with measuring up. That's just an
um
uncomfortable conversation.
so, but also just very intellectual and just there's just a lot of stuff good there. So I'm not exactly looking forward to Thanksgiving this year, but like, and we don't know what we're doing for Christmas or anything. So, and I don't know when or if I'm going to decorate or like how I'm feeling about the holidays because my dad died on January 1st, and Christmas has always been my favorite holiday, but the past 3 years has been really rough for holidays because that's when he was like really declining. So we've never Zeke and I have never like had like a set schedule of like we like go do Christmas with his family or Thanksgiving with his family or whatever because his family doesn't really celebrate holidays and mine always did. And so when we were close with my family, like near location wise to my family, we were always with my family. And now that we're far away, we don't do anything with anybody and it's lonely by myself because Zeke spends all day video gaming. So we're just kind of here. So I don't really know.
Oh, I know so many things. This is exciting. Well, the first thing you need to do is ask yourself, within a grace perspective, because that's a hard thing for you with, your dad, is give yourself grace as you slowly move back into traditions. Second thing is that you need to define for you, Kara, what is something that is really important that you desire to do for the holidays, or to go, or to experience, or to eat, or to cook, whatever that is. Define what is really important to you. And then what you should do is that you should, obviously, Zeke knows about the concerns with your family. Let's touch on that for a second. You and Zeke, if you haven't already, need to have a conversation about boundaries in the regard of like, okay, we need to leave at this time. What is a code word when I start to feel uncomfortable? If you could stay close to me when I start to feel anxious. And what are things that you will refuse to get into discussion about, but you expect that they will discuss, but not into your life. So if they discuss it, stay out of the conversation, don't engage, be the peacemaker, and make sure that all of these things are clear with your husband. Okay. And that he has your back.
Okay.
Okay. By expressing, which you obviously already have. The reality is like, here's what I don't love. I don't love how the only point made in that situation was extremely invalid to you in the regard of like, well, it has to do with measuring up. How is that practical? How is that going to help you in that situation? We all struggle with not measuring up, first off. You're not alone in that. Okay. That's not just an in-law thing. That's a thing. That's a deep-rooted thing. That is not helping you, and it is not productive, and this is not a care problem. They should not be talking about politics. And there's just some people that lack empathy or discernment with how they make people feel around them. There are just people that don't have a clue how to humble, or they don't know anything about that. So what can you do in that situation? And so that in that regard, there are certain people in my life, I do not let them in on certain things in my life. I do not. I don't entertain it. I don't nothing. I have an expectation and a definition of that relationship that they probably don't even know, but they're enjoying because that's where they belong. That's the place that they belong in my life, and everybody's happy. Okay. Because they respect that. Now, if they don't respect that you don't want to engage in that conversation, that's when that code word that you and Zeke defined needs to come into play. Whether it's like, I don't feel good, or I stayed up all night. I don't care. I don't care what that is. That's when you need to go. Don't force yourself to do things you're not ready to do. Do not force yourself to do things you're not ready to do.
Okay.
Okay. The third thing is this is exciting for you and Zeke, because you have so much potential to create your own traditions, and you have so much like opportunity. Like, hey, we Zeke and I like do this thing. We bake cookies, and I would challenge you and Zeke to do a lot more giving in this season, because you guys don't necessarily have the children aspect, where you need to kind of change the perspective. It'll help you heal with your dad. What can I do? Where can I volunteer? Where can I serve? Where can I give toys? Where can I get an angel thing and give and Zeke and I go shopping for a family that can't afford gifts? That'll get your mind off the loss and the hurt, and it'll start to renew and restore and refresh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to write all that down. The commitment that I would love for you to make is that if the in-law thing is obviously a thing, I really think that you should commit to talking to Zeke about boundaries that you both need to set in place so you're on the same page, so you feel safe. This is not about I need to fix myself to measure up to be in that space. That's ridiculous. I'll say it for what it is. That is the stupidest thing I have ever heard in my freaking life, and it infuriates me. If you are uncomfortable, that is valid, and that should be protected. You're not measuring up has absolutely nothing to do with that situation. And you want to know something the Lord revealed to me? The church that I went to, that I've unchurched, and I've rediscovered the real faith of the gospel, they believe, and I literally fell into this for years, even after leaving the church, because it's so rooted within me. That's what religion does, is push through, right? So a lot of you know that I struggle with social anxiety. If you don't, now you do. It's physically dreadful, paralyzing, and God is helping me heal through it. And the thing is that I thought that if I put myself in social situations, I was confronting it. It would heal me. But God is a God of gracious confrontation, not forceful. That is not Holy Spirit. If you feel like you have to force yourself to do something, that's not Holy Spirit. That's your will, not God's will. What does he say? Do things in my strength, not your own. So if you feel like it's coming from your strength, that ain't Holy Spirit. That's trying to prove something, not process. Are we trying to process or prove? Right? And so the Lord revealed to me, Ashley, you're not ready to do those things, and I'm not making you do them. You're making yourself do them. I'm a gracious God. I walk through things with you. I comfort you. I never leave you or forsake you. But I will not force you. I will comfort you in this process because I know how you feel, and I want to restore and heal that. Okay? So I think the commitment should define boundaries specifically for your in-laws right now. And then I want you to find one thing that you guys can do to give to someone else. That's for you, Kara. Believe it or not, that is for you. The devil will be like, focus on your grief. That's for you. Focus. But really, God's like, hey, if you focus on me and I put you somewhere else, that's healing you. Right? Because there's somebody else grieving. But guess what, Kara? You can make a change in that person's life. You're giving back what was stolen from you. Isn't that beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that help you?
Yeah, it really does.
Okay, good.
Thank
And I'm
you.
here for you if you need to define or script or communicate
Thank you. I appreciate it.
boundaries. Absolutely. Tiffany, what's your commitment, my dear?
My commitment is going to be identifying my actual expectations
That's good.
and releasing the rest. Because while we were going through all the different points on the call, I also was sloshing back and forth between the fact that I know that a lot of the holiday part actually stems from the things that happen or don't happen through the rest of the year, right? And I can't just fix a holiday so that it's magical and when there's actually no foundation of any relationship there with people. Like that's a whole year 365 type of thing, not just like a Christmas thing.
Right.
You know, it's not some so
Right.
realistically for the actual holidays, what are my expectations? Because my expectations for the relationship that I wish that I had with certain family members is different. You see what I'm saying? Like there's the big picture issue for how the relationship actually is, and then there's actual Christmas and like the experience of the holidays when we're physically together. So I need to separate those two things and not turn I'm going to be seeing you into the entire dynamic of our relationship. You know what I'm
I
saying?
don't know what you mean.
Like what is
I wouldn't separate it. I would
like
like
what is the
accepting someone for who
expectation?
they are makes the holiday, they don't change because of the holiday, right? Like me
Right.
having zero expectations of someone and putting them in a place in my life, like outside, a certain area. I go in that same mindset into the holiday.
It's more for me of like, instead of dreading the holiday with them because I dread the dynamic of our relationship, I can accept who they are and the fact that I can still have like a positive interaction with them without dwelling on what the dynamic of the relationship is. I think that's what I was. That's where I need to really set my exit, because I wasn't separating that. I was like, anytime I think of them, I think of the dynamic of our relationship, and then that puts me in kind of a bad place mentally, and then it's just not good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good. It's so freeing too. And you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
Is that when we do that, we actually enjoy that person.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
My mother's schizophrenic bipolar. Okay. Drug addict. Remember the summer I went to go see them? Do you guys remember that? My mother came. I had no expectations. I specifically was on a mission to go see my grandmother. That was my mission. See no one else. I had a boundary. I love boundaries. You guys should just follow me around. I love them. And my mother came, and she was, for my mother to be in a dress and sit down and be decent is huge for her. It's just huge. And my grandmother was very proud of her. And she says, your mom really, is all prettied up and, for her and is really trying. And I was so freaking proud of her because I had no expectations. And even then, when she showed up, I didn't have expectations to have a conversation for normalcy, for restoration. I treated her as if I invited someone into my home that I did not know. That's how I treat my family. Like, I treat them like I would a stranger on the street. That's the expectation I have. I'm not gaining anything from that relationship. But you know what that did for me? I enjoyed my mother. And she did nothing. And I knew she was uncomfortable. I got pictures with her with my kids, and that was hard for her. And there was a moment where, I know I can read the room where she would want to sabotage or back away, but I'm like, oh my God, you look beautiful. You look so beautiful. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so honored that you're taking pictures with my kids. They love it. You guys look amazing. So my expectation of myself was to go in there with no expectation, but that's what I'm telling Kara, to be a giver, to treat them like I would a stranger on the street. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm not mean to strangers. It's not very nice, right? So watch what will happen. Now, the people that don't respect that about you and they're just really toxic, because there are those people that feed off of that stuff. My sister is one of those people. She thinks she's better than everybody. She's a real narcissist, like Hollywood book narcissist. Like, I'm worried about her faith and her salvation, because, that's not for her. And she believes in Jesus, but she's just a narcissist. And so with her, I would honestly cut her out before I would cut out my schizophrenic mother, because she makes everything about her. And she feeds off the weaknesses of others, not tries to lift them up and not tries to comfort them, but feeds off of them for her own ego. Those are the kind of people I would never invite into my home. I think those people are more sick than the people that can't help be blinded. They just don't know any better. So I think that's it. I think everybody listed their commitments. How was this call? Your requested call. I hope that it fed your hearts for what
It was
you were looking
amazing.
for. And, if there was anything I didn't cover that you were hoping I covered, now is the time to let me know. Because I'll tell you if oh, I don't know. I'll tell you, I promise. I won't force myself to know something I don't know. You guys good? It was good? Okay, awesome. All right, well, I will let you get to